Have you ever spoken about something and the next minute you see an ad for it on your phone? It may be a product, a place, or an idea.
We laugh and joke about it, saying that maybe our phones are listening too. But what if I told you there's far more something unsettling?
ChatGPT, the ChatGPT.
Since
ChatGPT will now show advertisements.
Yes, recently Sam Altman, a founder and CEO of OpenAI, confirmed that ads are going to be rolled out inside ChatGPT.
And immediately people had questions. How will this work? Will the answers to prompts be ads? Or will the truth depend on people who pay more?
But before we call this dangerous or revolutionary, we need to understand something fundamental. To understand ads in ChatGPT, we first need to know what ads are and how ChatGPT works. So we are Jackson
I'm Karthikeyan, your host, and you're watching Open Sourced, a segment that's partnered with JIT Wired from Jansons Institute of Technology.
First, let's look at the origin of advertisement. Advertisement didn't start with an algorithm. It started with posters on walls, ads in newspapers, hoardings on highways, commercials on television. These ads works on a simple idea. You show the same message to everyone and hopes the right person sees it.
A shoe ad in the newspaper was seen by kids, adults, athletes, and people who didn't even like about shoes. A TV ad played during a cricket broadcast was seen by millions, even if only a few cared. This is called broadcast advertising.
They chased attention, not connection, and most of the attention spilled away wasted.
Then came the internet, and suddenly ads changed forever.
Because for the first time, advertisers didn't just know where their ads were shown. They knew who was seeing them and were able to decide who wanted to see them.
Digital ads were not about visibility, they were about precision. Instead of asking how many people saw this ad, brands started questioning who exactly saw this ad and who wants to see this ad.
Because advertisers can able to crack users' age, gender, location, interest, search history, and even online behavior. It wasn't magic, it was data.
But where did the data come from? Not from the microphones, not from the secret recording, but from the behavior.
Every time you liked the post, paused on a video, clicked on a link, or searched for something, data was created not intentionally but passively.
Because platforms started tracking what you scroll past, what you stop for, how long you stay, what you interact with, and what you ignore. Even silence became information.
And that is why, over a time, these actions form behavioral signals, and those signals are stored, analyzed, and grouped into patterns.
And now I'm sure we all have this question. How this data is exactly extracted? The extraction doesn't happen in one dramatic moment. The extraction happens quietly in the background.
It happens through a smallest thing that we tend to not notice. For example, cookies stored in your browser, tracking pixels embedded in websites, app permissions you approve without reading, and server logs recording every interaction.
When I visit a website, a small piece of codes report back saying that the user was here, the user clicked this, and the user stayed for so and so seconds.
On social media, the process delves even deeper. The platform doesn't just record what you do, it also records how you do it. For example, how fast you scroll, which post you linger on, which topics emotionally hook you. None of these requires your name. You are reduced to a profile and not a person.
The raw data itself is useless. What makes it powerful is the aggregation. Millions of users doing millions of actions every second. When enough data is collected, patterns emerge, and they start forming predictions such as people who like this often buy that, and people who search for this often need that. People who behave like you and respond to like you.
At this point, advertising stops being hopefulness and it becomes prediction. And this is why digital ads are so effective. Not because they know who you are, but because they know who you are likely to become next. ChatGPT doesn't think, it doesn't understand, it has no opinion of its own. When you strip it all back, ChatGPT is a highly advanced pattern recognition system. It is trained on massive amount of text, books, articles, websites, and even conversations.
When you ask a question, your query is sent to OpenAI server. The model doesn't look up to the truth. It analyzes the patterns from what it has learned and generates a response by predicting what comes next, one word at a time. Based on the patterns it has learned from the data, ads predict what you might buy, but ChatGPT predicts what you want to hear and what you might buy in some cases.
Here is why ads in ChatGPT are different from other digital ads. When you see an ad on Instagram, you know it's an ad and you scroll past it. But when ChatGPT gives you an answer, you don't scroll or exit the app. You tend to blindly trust it. ChatGPT is another platform, but it somehow became an authority in people's life. An authority changes everything. If ads exist in the same space as what we consider answers, it would definitely have a great influence on our mindset. It's not forced nor loud, but quietly persuasive.
AI is expensive. Servers, GPUs, electricity, data centers. AI services are fundamentally expensive to operate. And this isn't speculation.
Even Sam Altman has openly talked about it. During a viral image generation trend where users were creating Studio Ghibli style images at massive scale, Sam publicly asked the user to slow down. Not because the trend was bad, but because image generation is extremely compute heavy.
Every image costs real money. Millions of people do it at once. The costs explode. In another moment, half joking, half serious, Sam even asked users to avoid sending messages like thank you or sorry after every response. Not because politeness is bad, but because even those messages trigger a full AI response. And every response, no matter how small, still costs compute.
When the CEO of an AI company talks about server costs in public, that tells you something. This is the difference between AI and traditional software. In most apps, more users means more profit. In AI, more users often mean more cost. Growth doesn't automatically scales revenue, it scales expenses. This shift explains why we are seeing the introduction of ads as a primary source of income. Few industry reports suggest that these AI companies could earn as much as $25 billion annual ad revenue by 2030. Integrating ads allow them to maintain these expensive systems while keeping access available to the general public.
OpenAI tweeted about how ads will look in ChatGPT. They are currently testing it out for adults in US. And the idea is simple. The free users and Go Plan users will be seeing ads on ChatGPT. But they have also said how ads will never alter the answers ChatGPT creates. It will never share your personal information with the advertisers. Ads will only be relative to your search and to the interest you show. And the most important, they will be clearly labeling that this is an ad.
They show two examples of how ads will look like. The first is someone asking for a dish idea to make, and at the bottom is a hot sauce that they can order, which is sponsored. The second is someone asking for travel itinerary, and at the very bottom there is a business that is being promoted for travel. And the cool thing is the chat with business option, so you can click on the button and it's load up another chat window in which you can chat with the company. So far, this is all we know about ads in ChatGPT.
The risk isn't about just privacy, it's the alignment of incentives. When responses are blended with ads, every small bias is magnified because users rely on these systems for truth. A paid placements can feel indistinguishable from a factual answer.
ChatGPT was built to answer questions.
And advertising is built to influence decision. The future depends on whether these two ideas can coexist without changing what answers mean. Because the moment the answers become optimized, truth becomes negotiable. And it's not a technological problem, it's a human one.
Record-breaking data leak has exposed over 16 billion login credentials from major online platforms including Apple, Google, Facebook, GitHub, and Telegram.
Amazon Web Services saying 10 minutes ago that there are significant API errors and connectivity issues across multiple servers.
Reporting a large outage right now is affecting sites like X, Spotify, even OpenAI. According to Down Detector, thousands reported this outage just before 4 a.m. this morning. This outage is related to a server called...
In all of these incidents, we can see that there were loopholes even in the most secure software systems. These issues were unintentional, not because the systems lacked security, but because of their wide and complex scope. This raises an important question. Is it really possible to build a system or application without any loopholes?
But here's the uncomfortable truth. We cannot assure that our privacy is 100% secure. The moment our lives moved into technology, everything became part of a system. And every system has two sides, advantages and consequences. Let's take a simple example. If you truly want your phone number to be completely private, then logically, you shouldn't be using Uber, Swiggy, Flipkart, Amazon, or even GPay. Because the delivery partners sees your number, the merchants get your number, the cab drivers calls you. Not because they want to invade your privacy, but because the system needs the information to function.
Convenience always comes at a cost, and in the digital world, the cost is data.
As technologies evolve, we also need to evolve in awareness, responsibility, and caution.
Awareness. Awareness means what you are giving away.
Responsibility. Responsibility means accepting trade-off. The future is about using technology consciously, knowing when it helps, when it takes, and where to draw the line.
Technology will keep evolving. The real question is, will we truly evolve with this technology?
Or just passively surrender our thinkings to it?
This is me, Jackson Henry, and Karthikeyan.